My name is Teresa Njoroge. I'm the founder and CEO of a social enterprise called Clean Start Africa, and I'm also the convener of the Beyond the Bars Africa Annual Conference and the patron of what we call Sisters on the Outside. Yeah.
Beyond the Bars
Africa Conference
is what really made me want to have this conversation with you. And I'm happy because from where we sit at, I believe you have a lot of information to share with me.
Yes, indeed.
And I'd like to take you back to when you are working in the banking industry. And then you were wrongfully convicted, according to what you told me, you shared with me. So I'd like you to talk to me, a bit into that. For the sake of our viewers who didn't have the opportunity to hear.
So true, indeed. Beyond the Bars is a fruit of a long journey, and the beginning of that journey is when I got wrongfully arrested. That was in 2009, and I went through a malicious prosecution because the arresting officer knew that I hadn't committed the crimes that he was, subjecting me to be persecuted on.
What do you mean he knew that you hadn't committed that crime, but he still went ahead?
Upon my arrest, he, I had handled a fraudulent transaction unknowingly at the bank where I worked.
What happened?
So we paid out a client, as was procedurally at the bank. And after we paid the client, after a while, the client came and said, I am not the one who withdrew the funds from my account. And so investigations started. And yes, I did see some people get disciplinary action who were part of the
process?
The approval process. But after some while, it just went quiet. So I always had this question at the back of my mind, what happened? Because I never got to see the final investigation report, because that would then show what the recommendations were post the investigations have been done. But I continued with my work. Even though unclear, you've got this hovering question around you. So this fine day I report to work, and some officers come to my workplace and they say that they are there to, talk to me. So at that time, I thought it's to unravel what happened, and so that I could contribute further, because I had already gone through my questioning.
Yes.
And I was happy that we'll get to understand, or however, anyway, I'm needed. Even I want closure to know. But there was a turn of events and tone when the arresting officer said to me that he had not come to investigate or to find out any information. He had actually come to arrest me. And I was like, but how can you arrest me, yet I did no wrong. So after a back and forth, he actually arrested me, and I was taken to the central bank fraud unit for further interrogation, the arrest process. And at that point, he said to me, I know that you did not steal and you're innocent. I know that. But I am proceeding with the prosecution. But if you would give me $10,000, that's like $1 million bob, this case will disappear.
Stop it.
He did.
How much of the client's money had been transacted?
It was 9.9 million in total.
I see.
And I said, so how do you know so well that I didn't do any wrong?
And you still are going ahead to,
First you arrest me, then you're proceeding on. Like, how is this even possible? But at that point, I got locked up at Kileleshwa police station that night. So remember, he picked me from work. Here we are now, he's taken me to be locked up at Kileleshwa police station, and then the following morning, he arraigns me in court. And he asks me as he's taking my fingerprints, do you have 1 million shillings?
Yeah, like still persuading you.
Yes.
So now everything done, then are you spending the night at Kileleshwa police station? Or?
So after I was charged in court, and I was now asked to pay bail, which I didn't have at that point. And so I was taken to Langata Women Remand Section. So in the course of that week, I hired a lawyer. I managed to get the bail through my family and friends who supported me. And that's how I got out. But when it rains, it really pours, because immediately I got out, I got terminated from work, and my name was so maligned. I was now the bank manager thief, because that's what the news reported, the bank manager thief. So it was a very tough time.
And while all that happened, did you ever come to realize who is it that set you up?
I eventually did add one and one together, and realized that there is no way someone would have just walked into the bank, withdrew all that money over a period of time. It's not like he did one transaction. It's not like I was the only one who was involved in processing that payment. I actually had managers who were above me, who were final authorities, who had authorized.
That means they saw the whole thing happen.
Exactly. Yeah. And the fact that I was singled out to carry the cross on behalf of the bank, when at the end of that long route, it did add up that there were some insiders who knew what was going on, to the point that even during prosecution, we couldn't have the CCTV at the time of my serving the client, which would have been proof to favor me that I paid this client, but it was now their word against me.
Right.
So,
and I think, Teresa, what got me to have this conversation with you, even in as much as you went through a traumatizing period, is the fact that you still rose up.
Yeah.
And, have done many other amazing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about the initiative that you founded.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm really interested to know how far you're going and how everything is going about.
I tell you, every cloud has a silver lining in it. And I
believe so.
Yeah, our job is to look for that silver lining in that cloud, because tough as the journey was, as you say, I met some amazing ladies. At first, that's not what I referred to them. Like any other person, I looked at them as criminals.
While you were behind bars?
Well, I was behind bars. I was like, I have not done anything wrong. I have come in here and I did not, there's nothing that I have done to warrant me being behind bars.
You didn't commit that crime you're being charged
for. But here I
Yeah.
was thinking, I am innocent, you are criminals, so judging them. But as I stayed with them, I saw my unconscious bias, because what made me think that I was the only innocent person who had been sent there, but they were rightfully there? Like, what kind of bias is that? But you see, it's the narratives that we hear.
Yeah.
So you grow up knowing anyone who's there is a criminal. And as I listened to their stories, I was, drawn, so much compassion came over me when I heard their stories. These were women who never had education opportunities, because as we all know, education here is not equal for all. That's the truth of the matter. It depends, the supply and the quality depends on how much you're able to pay.
To afford.
Exactly. So and that's education. And so most of them never had education opportunities, and post missing those education opportunities, definitely they didn't have high stakes when it came to employment. And if they ever were, they were underemployed. And even if that didn't happen, they didn't have capital to have economic opportunities, decent income generating opportunities. So, and I'd hear their cry. So that's how I was like, okay, I think I can do something. And remember, at the point of conviction, I had just been blessed with my firstborn daughter. She was 3 months old, and that's how, and we went into prison with her. So I was with all these other hundreds of women who are also accompanied by their children. So I'm looking at all these little innocent children. It's not their crime, yet it's their sentence. And this is how they're beginning life, including my own daughter. But I'm hopeful when I get out, I will continue fighting to give my child better opportunities. But these women are getting out to hit the streets, to go and hawk. No, there's no one actually who's even coming for them. And it was at that point, especially when I saw women leave and 2-3 months later they are back. Or a woman is being released and she's crying tears, like, where am I going? She has no bus fare, she has no food, she has no where to go and stay, and she's crying. I'm like, so prison is better for you?
But hold on, when you say they're being released and 2 or 3 months they're coming back, yeah, what happened? Did they commit another crime?
Yes. Sometimes deliberately.
Oh,
so they know if I go and hawk at a particular area, the city council Kanjo will come and they will rough us up and they will put us in their vehicle and we will be taken to city court or whichever court, and then we will end up in prison because I don't have bail. So why is she considering that an option? Because when she's sentenced for, even if it's 2 months or whatever amount of months she's sentenced for, she will not stress about food. She will not stress about rent. She will get a break.
Food, accommodation,
and just company. That she's not running up and down, cat chase, mouse, whatever game, with the city council as carries. She's getting a break. It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, but I'm glad that you're here to solve the problem. Because I think that's the gap you saw, and then you decided to come up with that
with the Clean Start.
Yes.
Exactly.
So when did you establish Clean Start?
So as soon as I got out, I tried a bit to find employment. I didn't, because at that time I was trying to get employment to be able to find some money to then run the initiative, because I didn't have money. But then I never found work. Of course, the tag of being an ex-con was following me just like a shadow. No one trusts you. Even though I got cleared, post-serving my sentence, I eventually got cleared of any wrongdoing, compensated by the government, and still I couldn't find work. That tag is very heavy. So when I couldn't find work, and I saw how the women were really, really suffering. So I set up Clean Start. And what Clean Start does, we go into the prisons, we train the women. So we've got a 12-week program. It's called the Ufunuo program. It's 12 weeks. That's the basic level, because it has other levels like advanced, masters. If you want to become a leader, if you want to become a pro bono paralegal, you go through the advanced training. But every woman in prison must take the basic level of Ufunuo. It's 12 weeks. And then upon graduation, you can now join Clean Start's initiatives on the outside. Because we've set up economic hubs like tailoring centers, bakery centers where, they can come bake, cook. We have some that are in construction, masons, painters. So, if out there you've got a building, these women, we've trained them in construction, carpentry. We've got the green energy space as well, where they make charcoal briquettes and the clean energy cooking stoves. So we've got all these spaces where they can earn an income that we've set up. So you don't need to leave prison and then go into the streets. You leave prison and you come find a place to work, and then you're able to decently fend for your family.